Hi, hello, welcome to our high school. Today's topic is evolution in gases exchange system. In the previous class, we have studied about the differences between the respiration and the combustion, and as well as how food breaks down in the process of respiration and how our body releases energy. So these are all things we have learned. But in this class, we are going to discuss about how these systems evolved. What are those systems? The exchange of gas. So there is something working behind for the exchange of gases. So what are those systems involved in this process, and what are the factors determines this exchanging system? That means the respiratory system. Such kind of all those things we are going to learn in this class. Exchange of gases is a very common process in all living organisms to carry out its life process. But this is not same in all organisms. Do you get my point here? Exchange of gases, that means this exchange is common in all living organisms. Why? Because here the process is an energy releasing process. Whenever these gases exchange, whenever this oxygen enters into the tissues, then only energy releasing process takes place. Whenever energy releases, immediately the CO2 produced, so that this CO2 should be sent out of the body. So that this exchange is a very common process. Why? Because then only energy release. No, okay, that's fine. But here this process is not same in all organisms. Okay, so these systems are different in different types of organisms. For example, in a single cellular organisms, just like amoeba, paramecium, and in lower class multicellular organisms. Lower class multicellular organisms like hydra, planaria, roundworms, etc., etc. So these are all organisms. They don't have a specific respiratory organs. They don't have a specific system for the exchange of gases. Even though these hydra, planaria, roundworms, these are all multicellular organisms, but they are very lower class organisms, so that they don't have any specific respiratory organs. Then how the exchange takes place? It's a very simple process, that is diffusion. That means this diffusion process takes place by the surface of the skin. These organisms exchange their gases when the gradient happens within the cells of the body and the external environment. So within the body, if there is a deficiency of oxygen, when the cells utilized, immediately from the external environment oxygen enters into the body, and immediately in the same way CO2 gradient increases in the body, so the CO2 exchange outside of the body. So this entire process takes place by the diffusion. That's it. There are no specific organs to carry out this process, but as the complexity of the body increases, the respiratory system had made several changes, so that there are some evolutions takes place. Let us see some kind of evolutions. What are those and what they depend upon? The first thing is habitat of the organism, the size of the body, the availability of water, and the circulatory system. What are those? Habitat of the organism, size of the body, availability of water, circulatory system. So these four factors determines the respiratory organs, or determines the evolution of respiratory organs. So what are those factors? Once see, very important, that is, okay, see here, habitat of the organism, size of the body, availability of water, circulatory system. So these four factors determines the evolution of respiratory systems. Okay, so let us see some types of respiratory systems. Types of respiratory systems. The first one is tracheal respiratory system. The first one is tracheal respiratory system. This respiratory system is found in insects. Is found in insects. Insects means whatever, cockroaches, mosquitoes, butterflies, grasshoppers, etc., 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 whatever the insects, they have this kind of respiratory system, that is tracheal respiratory system. This system consists of a series of tube-like structures. This tracheal system consists of a series of tube-like structures called trachea. This trachea further divides into several small tube-like structures called tracheoles. Tracheal respiratory system. This tracheal respiratory system consists of a long tube-like structures called trachea, and further this trachea divides into a small tube-like structures called tracheoles. Look at the picture on the screen. Observe it carefully. The long tube-like structures which are long, longitudinally arranged, these structures are called trachea. And these longitudinal structures, these long tube-like structures further divides into a small branches like horizontal tube-like structures. Observe it carefully. So these branches are called as tracheoles. These two structures opens to outside of the body through a small pore-like structures, through a small pores called spiracles. Spiracles. Spiracles are nothing but the small holes which are present outside of the body. So through the spiracles, air enters into trachea, trachea to tracheoles, from tracheoles to blood, blood to tissues, blood to tissues. So see this order. There is a specification for this tracheal respiratory system. Spiracles are the small holes which are arranged outside of the body of the organism. From the spiracles, air enters into trachea. From the trachea, a small branches arised from the trachea. Those are tracheoles. Air enters into tracheoles from the trachea. So from the tracheoles, air enters into directly to tissues. Directly to tissues. See, did you find any difference here? Did you find any mistake here? There is no involvement of blood. Did you find it? Generally, in some other organisms, whenever air enters into the lungs, from the lungs, air enters into blood. So from there onwards, air transports to, that means air in the sense here, oxygen. Do remember. Okay, whenever air enters into blood, from there onwards, it transports to each and every cell of the body and tissues and so on, so on, so on. But here, there is no involvement of blood here in this type of respiratory system. Why? Because insects don't have oxygen carrying agent. What is oxygen carrying agent? In our body, oxygen carrying agent is hemoglobin. It is nothing but hemoglobin. In the previous classes we have studied, whenever air reaches into blood, immediately oxygen combines with the hemoglobin and forms oxyhemoglobin, so that this oxyhemoglobin reaches to each and every cell of the body. But here that such kind of thing is not at all there here, because there is no oxygen carrying agent, so that oxygen is directly entering into tissues from the air. Directly from the environment, air enters into the body and as well as it is going to tissues. That's it. That means this trachea or tracheoles, these are the tubes directly taking air into tissues. That's it. So this is very, very, very important bit. What is that? Why insects' blood is in red color? Simple. Absence of hemoglobin. There is why insects perform tracheal respiratory system, because there is no oxygen carrying agent in their blood. Hence, insects are equipped with, or insects are evolved with tracheal respiratory system, which consists of several tubes. Once observe the picture on the screen, the long tube-like structures are trachea and the further dividing tubes are tracheoles. Already we have seen before. Once have a glance and understand, and spiracles outside of the body. Once see these spiracles connects to external environment. From the external environment, oxygen is taken to trachea, trachea to tracheoles, tracheoles to tissues. So this is the complete tracheal respiratory system. Of course, it is very easy system. There is no much complexity, just like us. And the next respiratory system is branchial respiratory system. Branchial respiratory system. Branchial respiratory system found in aquatic animals, just like fishes. The first one is tracheal respiratory system. We found it in insects. What are those? Insects. Here, branchial respiratory system. It is found in aquatic animals like fishes. All of you very well known about fishes, and we have seen many times in aquariums or in some area. Fishes breathe through gills. So, this side area of the body, some kind of foldings will be found now. So, these are gills. Once see the picture, you can able to find the gills very easily. So, these reddish colored structures are on the sides of the body are gills. Respiration through gills is known as branchial respiratory system. These gills are supplied with a large network of blood capillaries. During the process of respiration, fishes used to open its mouth. In aquariums, we will able to see it very clearly. Fishes always, they open its mouth and they close it, opens, closes, opens, closes, isn't it now? So, whenever fishes opens its mouth, water draws into the oral cavity. Water draws into oral cavity. Whenever it enters into oral cavity, fish immediately closes its mouth. So that oral cavity pushed up. So water again comes out of the gills from the sides onwards. So whenever water is traveling through the gills, I said gills are equipped with a large network of blood capillaries. So whenever water enters into that, whenever water travels on the surface of the gills, immediately oxygen from the water enters into gills, and as well as CO2 from the blood through the gills enters into water. So this same process, the same exchange takes place at the same time. So gills are respiratory organs in fishes. Once look at the picture on the screen. So you will able to find that these are the reddish structures just behind the eyes are called as gills. Why these gills are very reddish in color? Because supplied with a large network of blood capillaries, and it is very unlike to insects. In fishes there is a oxygen carrying agent, that is a hemoglobin, hence the blood is red in color. So if you find this, there is a lots of difference between the tracheal respiratory system and as well as branchial respiratory system. Tracheal respiratory system found in insects, branchial respiratory system found in gills. Here there is no blood carrying agent, so that air from the external environment directly enters into tissues through several tube-like structures. Okay, but this is very different. Here gills are equipped with blood capillaries. Whenever fish opens its mouth, water draws into oral cavity. Immediately fish closes its mouth. So oral cavity pushes up and the water comes out through gills. So whenever this water is coming through the gills, immediately there will be exchange of gases takes place. So this is branchial respiratory system. And the next one is cutaneous respiratory system. What is that? Cutaneous respiratory system. This kind of respiratory system we found in earthworms, leeches, and in amphibians. That means they respire through skin. For this process, these animals used to keep its skin always moist and slippery, always. So whenever the skin is moist and slippery in nature, then only this cutaneous respiration takes place. So that if you touch earthworm or maybe leeches or maybe frogs, have you ever, their skin is in a sticky nature, is it? So why? Because those are equipped with the cutaneous respiration. That's why they keep moist their skin. Earthworms, leeches and amphibians. See, here is a specification for amphibians. So what is that specification? What is the best example for amphibians? Tell me. Yes, it is nothing but frogs. Generally, frogs are able to perform cutaneous respiration and as well as pulmonary respiration. Why? Because they used to live both on land and water, isn't it? When they can comfortably live in water and they can comfortably live on land according to the environment changes. Okay, so frogs, that means these amphibians are also equipped with lungs so that they can perform pulmonary respiration also. Pulmonary respiration means respiration through lungs, that is pulmonary respiration. And as well, these amphibians are also perform respiration through its oral cavity, that is a bucopharyngeal cavity. Amphibians, they can respire through skin and as well as they can respire through lungs and as well as they can respire through oral cavity. If they respire through skin, that is cutaneous respiration. If they respire through lungs, that is pulmonary respiration. If they respire through oral cavity, that is bucopharyngeal respiration. Okay, so this is a specification only for amphibians, because as they are able to survive both on land and water, so there is a kind of adjustment. Okay, so these are a very few respiratory systems which they have given in our textbook. Of course, most of the animals in the animal kingdom, they perform this kind of respiratory systems only. So the first one is here, what we discussed here, that is tracheal respiratory system. We used to found in insects. For this process, insects are equipped with long tube-like structures called trachea. So from the trachea, these further divides into small branches called tracheoles. From the tracheoles, air enters into tissues. That means directly from the environment to tissues, air travels. Why? Because this is all because of there is a absence of oxygen carrying agent. No hemoglobin, that's why. Okay, and the next one is branchial respiratory system. This kind of respiratory system we can find in aquatic animals. The best example is fish. Fishes respire through gills. Gills are also called as bronchia, hence we can call it as branchial respiratory system. So fishes gills are supplied with lots of blood capillaries. Fishes opens its mouth so that water rushes into oral cavity, and later on when fish close its mouth, from the oral cavity to water comes out through the gills. So at the time exchange takes place. And the next one is cutaneous respiration. This kind of respiration through skin, hence cutaneous. This kind of respiration we can see in earthworms, leeches and amphibians. So specification for this cutaneous respiration is animals must keep their body moist and slippery. And the next one is specification for amphibians, because as they live both on land and water, so they can respire through lungs, they can respire through oral cavity. If the respiration through lungs is pulmonary respiration, respiration through oral cavity is bucopharyngeal respiration. So this is all about evolution in a gaseous exchange in animals. That's all for the types of respiratory system and the process of respiration in animals. Now we should see the respiration process in plants also. What? Plants are also perform respiration. How? What is the purpose? Generally plants perform photosynthesis, no? They absorb carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. That plants will do. Do plants also perform respiration? Is it true? Just like us, plants also should need energy to carry out its life process. What are the life process are going in our body? The same process will also carry out in the plants also. But of course, the complexity is different. Circulatory system will be, excretory system will be, nutrition process will be, and all this process will carried out in plants also. So to carry out all these life process, plants also must require energy. So there is the only process to release energy is, that is respiration. So no doubt about that, plants also should perform respiration. And again here is a doubt. Plants respire, yes. But in the respiration process, oxygen should be utilized, carbon dioxide should be released. Animals used to absorb oxygen and they release carbon dioxide. Then what about plants? Plants release oxygen, utilize carbon dioxide. Yes, of course, that is in photosynthesis. But in the respiration process, plants also need oxygen, and plants also release carbon dioxide as an excretory product. Plants also release water as an excretory product. So no doubt about that one. Just like other animals, plants also perform respiration. They used to take oxygen, they used to release carbon dioxide. So now let us see respiration in plants. Respiration in plants. I said you just now, just like animals, plants also respire. Plants also exchange gases in their tissues. So for this process, plants are equipped with different organelles. Let us see what are those organelles. As we have already learned that leaves are equipped with stomata for gaseous exchange. And we have already learned in our previous class in the first chapter, while photosynthesis, the upper surface of the leaves, that means the epidermis has many stomata. So through the stomata, gaseous exchange takes place. So along with that, the surface of the roots have a fine hair-like structures, very thin hair-like structures called root hairs will be. So through these root hairs, plant able to respire. And not only that, the surface of the stem is provided with lenticels. So these are all together helps the plant for respiration. So let us see. Stomata, root hairs, lenticels on stem. These three parts helps in most of the plants for respiration process. While starting the lesson, I said you habitat of the organism, availability of water, size of the body, and the type of circulatory system determines the evolution of respiratory organs. So all the plants, they may not adapted to the same environment. Some plants live in soil, some plants live in water, some plants live in waterlogged areas, some plants live in drought conditions. So just like that, they are plants distributes to various environments on this earth. So they should provided with different types of respiratory organs to get energy, right? One of such kind is aerial roots. What is that? Aerial roots. As the name indicates here, aerial. Aerial means what? The roots grow above the soil. What is that? Roots in the sense, roots should grow under the soil, no? But here roots will grow above the soil. Why? Because the plants who are growing in marshy lands, waterlogged areas, just like mangroves, because throughout their lifetime they spend its life in waterlogged areas or in marshy areas. So in such areas, air cannot enter into the roots, and as well as air will not dissolve in that mud or some in such marshy areas. So to overcome such problem, these plants used to grow their roots above the soil. Because of that, these roots, they able to absorb oxygen directly from the environment. So such kind of roots are called as aerial roots. Best example, mangroves. And in some plants, they respire through specialized tissues. So the best example is orchids. In orchids, they have specialized tissues for respiration in orchids. Okay, so these are the various types of respiratory organs in plants which are helpful for performing energy releasing process. What is that? Respiration. So this is all based on the type of environment and the type of their habitat. So they are equipped with various organs. Now let us see how this conduction process takes place. What is this conduction process? How air enter into the body, and how that means how oxygen is utilized by the body, and how CO2 expelled out of the body. So let us see the conduction of gases in plants through these organs. Stomata, lenticels. These are lead to a series of spaces between the cells in the plant, which forms a continuous network all over the plant, which forms a continuous network all over the plant. That means the stomata and lens cells, they open inside the plant body. So these openings leads to a continuous network. That means there are large air spaces present within the leaves and as well as inside the plant body. These air spaces lined with the water column, That's why plants, they float on water, they don't sink in water. Have you observed that? Why? Because inside the plant body there are many air spaces. So between these air spaces always there will be a water column. That means, in a simple words, we can say that these air spaces are lined with the water column. So through stomata, lenticels, or maybe root hairs, whenever the air enters into the air spaces, this air dissolves in the water column. This water column is continuous from top to bottom and bottom to top. So as this is a continuous water column, this air continuously enters into the plant body or air spaces, so that this air dissolves in the water column, so that oxygen is utilized by the cells and tissues. In the same way, the carbon dioxide also passes through the spaces. This dissolved oxygen, what is the dissolved oxygen? Where it will dissolve? I told you, the air spaces of the plant cell lined with the water column. So whenever air enters into that water column, oxygen dissolves. So this dissolved oxygen enters into the cell. Inside the cell, cytoplasm will be, so inside the cytoplasm, this oxygen is distributed to each and every organelle. Cell consists of several organelles, we have discussed in 9th class. So each and every organelle utilize that oxygen. And there are mitochondria will be present, and this mitochondria powerhouses of the body. Whatever it is, whether it is a animal or is a plant, whatever it is, these are powerhouses of the cell. In plants also, they used to break it down by utilizing oxygen. So hence energy releases and distributed to each and every organelle of the body. The process is same. What is that process? Breaking down of sugars by utilizing oxygen. So whether it is an animal or a plant, whatever it is, the breaking down process and energy releasing process is same in all organisms, but the organ systems are different. Why? Because each and every living organism have their different habitats and different body sizes and different circulatory systems. So based on this, they have different respiratory organ systems, but the common thing in all this is obtaining oxygen and breaking down of glucose is common. So after utilizing oxygen and breaking down of glucose, energy releasing and carbon dioxide releasing, and as well as water. So this is all common in all organisms. Hence respiration is a energy releasing system. This is a very important life process, whether it is a plant or animal. These animals may be unicellular or multicellular or maybe higher class multicellular. Everyone, the process is same. But if the body is complex, they have specialized organs. But in plants, they don't have a specialized organs for carrying out oxygen or releasing of CO2. So this entire process takes place by diffusion, just like amoeba, paramecium, hydra, planaria, etc. As they also don't have specialized organs, that's why wherever the organism don't have specialized organs, simply they carry out through diffusion process. So here also this entire process takes place by diffusion. That's it. It's a very simple process, but very important process which happens in all living cells. That's all for the respiration in plants. It's a very simple process, nothing through stomata, lenticels or something, air enters into plant body. As plant body is made up of large air spaces and which are lined with the water column, and this air is dissolved in the water column, and through the diffusion process gases transport. That's it. So up to now we have studied about the respiratory organs in various organisms, both plants and animals. So by this we can complete our respiration topic. Last but not least, we are going to know more about respiration through 2 small experiments. Why? Because As already we have discussed that respiration is just like combustion. We have studied, no? In both process, energy released, carbon dioxide released, water released, and along with that heat is also released. 14th century only people believed that there is a relationship between the body temperature and respiration. So that till now we did not discuss about temperature. So that in the next class we are going to perform a few activities which proves that heat is liberated during respiration. So don't miss it. Follow regularly. If you do not subscribe still now, please subscribe so that you will get much more videos. Until that, stay tuned.